What I will share with you at the beginning of our session was sent to me by my son. He's in Italy right now. And he sent me this video, which is sort of a combination of spoken word and jazz. I don't typically listen to jazz because it's a little too busy for me, too much going on. I don't listen to music in general. Sometimes I'll feel inspired to listen to music, but it's rare right now that I listen to music. But he sent me this piece, and I just wanted to share this with you all, and also share what it inspired within me, in the hopes that it inspires this level of confidence and conviction within you as well. But here we go.
I am, and I'm wonderful, and I know this supreme power that gives me the ability to be everything if I just allow it to happen. It's about not going against the grain. It's about not batting your head against a wall that will not come down. It's about saying, open this wall for me, please. This supreme power that gives me the ability to be everything if I just allow it to happen. Open this wall for me, please.
I love the lyric, open this wall for me, please. And here's what came to me, right? When I heard it, it brought back this memory of the biblical story of Moses standing in front of the sea and parting the Red Sea. Whether it's, just a story or not, doesn't matter. But it just reminded me of that for whatever reason. And I could see Moses standing on the edge of the ocean going, open this sea for me, please, because of his power, right? But then it reminded me of our power, where we know, regardless of what feels like a brick wall that we seemingly can't break down, we perceive that we can't get through this wall, something in our lives that we perceive as a wall, right? And I just hear her voice going, open this wall for me, please. And the inspiration that I felt was, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is our vibration that moves and shifts things in this little movie, in this simulation. We know our predominant beliefs. We know that whatever we perceive and believe to be true becomes our reality. We know we're the only ones creating in our reality. And I could just see all of us moving into that place where we know it's our vibration that changes things. We know if we change us, if I change me, my circumstances change, right? So we can stand in front of any circumstance and go, open this wall for me, please. We speak to our energy. We speak to our vibration. We speak to the innate power within us. And we're so convinced that it can move and change anything that we just look at it. You look at that empty bank account and you go, fill that account for me, please. Not even bothered by what you're seeing, because you just know with your vibration, you can change it, right? You can stand in front of your ailing body and know that your vibration can heal And you can look at your body and go, heal this body for me, please. You're speaking to the vibration within you. Heal this body for me, please. Fill this bank account for me, please. A relationship that is non-harmonious, but you know, if you carry the vibration of harmony within you, you can look at that relationship and go, harmonize this relationship for me, please. With your vibration, you speak to the vibration within you and you allow the vibration to do the work, right? Because it's already done anyway. So you just speak to whatever circumstance seems like a brick wall. Open this wall for me, please. That was just so powerful for me this weekend. My son sent it to me on Friday, and I just had it on repeat the entire time. Like, I probably played it like 25 times in a row. And I just love, open this wall for me, please. Just with such confidence that you know the supreme power within you. You know your vibration is what moves, shifts, and changes things. And you can speak to the vibration within you. Open this wall for me, please. And nothing seems like a wall because you know what you're walking with, right? And you can just part the Red Sea. You know, I was sitting in my bed listening to this over and over and over. I'm like, put me in front of an ocean. I feel like I could part a Red Sea right now. Like, open this ocean for me, please. It was just so powerful. But I just wanted to share that as an opening to encourage you to continue along the path to standing firm in knowing who you are. It's interesting because my son, who's in Italy and sent this to me, was experiencing some challenges at work in his performing arts career. And I said, remember who you are, because he knows who he is. It's like, remember who you are. And then he sent me this and I was like, yes, just say, open this wall for me, please. And isn't it interesting that the lyric is not open this door for me, please? It's open this wall for me, please. The seeming impossible, right? And you can just make it just possible with your vibration, with the power that you know that you are. Open this wall for me, please. I just thought that was really beautiful. Okay, so let's get started with Q&A. And I don't know how many questions I have. It wasn't that many, but I'm gonna deep dive on a couple of them. So just allow me the space to do that. So let's talk about the first question, which came up last week, but there were follow-up questions on it this week. So let's just do a quick review of the two things we talked about last week with regard to this. This is all about, I want to let go of this job that I don't like. I want to let go of this side gig that I don't like. And what I'm going to do here is address the question by sharing some of my own personal experiences. But first, I wanted to just recap sort of what we talked about last week. One of which was this. So the question last week was, when I do this side gig and I do this job, it's pulling me out of the frequency of what I do prefer. It's pulling me out of the frequency. It feels like it's pulling me out of my anchoring in my new story. And so what I shared last week was, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to pull you out of your anchoring of your new story. If you're fully anchored in your new story, the current circumstances, including the job, including the side gig, can feel quite neutral, right? Because you're so anchored here. It feels very, very neutral. It's very much like the analogy that I shared in the past where if a friend of yours says, hey, I just won the lottery, and I'm sending you $20,000, but it's not going to get to you for a couple of weeks, and you have, $10 in your bank account, and you have bills to pay, and you're doing the side gig, none of that matters to you. Why? Because you know $20,000 is coming. So even if the bill is due now, and you absolutely have to pay the bill now, and you're like, all right, I'm just going to do some DoorDash or do some Uber or whatever, get this bill paid. But after that, I am just lounging because $20,000 is coming, right? So that's the same thing. When you're anchored in your new story and you believe in that new story so strongly, what's happening currently it doesn't have as much charge, it doesn't have as much pull. So we talked about that last week. But then in the Q&A, we explored another suggestion that came in was, wouldn't it be more aligned, and I'm reading it here so that we can address it too. Wouldn't it be more aligned to prompt the mind to conjure up a more fun and passionate way to allow the money rather than returning to something that doesn't juice you up? Like you could say, thanks mind for coming up with this side gig idea, but I feel complete with that for now. Feel free to give me other ideas that will align with my highest excitement. Absolutely a beautiful other option. And there's another aspect to this that I want to dig into. But what I want to share is there is no one right way. Of course, as we know, life is a buffet of options. And even with this, the question that came up really was what you shared regarding side gigs and part-time jobs makes sense in that it really doesn't have to take us out of the frequency of our new story. My question is, how do you know when it's actually time to walk away, when it's actually time to quit? And there is no one answer to that. Perhaps the only answer I can offer, and I'll share some examples in a minute, is you know when you know. You know when you know. So let me share a little bit about my story leaving my corporate job. I think it was probably 18, almost 20 years ago now. And what happened for me is I had an intuitive hit. I'm going to try to focus just on the things that are relevant because that story has lots of twists and turns. I'm pretty sure I did a whole video on that when I had my old YouTube channel as well. So it's still up there. I think I called it How I Knew It Was Time to Quit. So there were some coming to Jesus moments that, and back then I was a Christian, but I had a strong intuitive hit that I was going to quit that job. I knew for certain sure I was going to quit that job. This sort of aligns with, I feel complete with that for now. But there are flavors of, I feel complete with that for now. And that's what I want to raise your awareness to just make sure that we're seeing the full picture, that it's not just, I feel complete with that for now, and I'm walking away now. That's one flavor. But the flavor that I took when I was walking away from corporate America was, I knew for absolute certain that I was going to walk away from that job. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I was complete. I knew I was done. But it was 2 years after that knowing was certain within me that I actually quit. And a couple of people were really positive influences in my life at that time. What actually triggered my interest in leaving that job was not a very challenging job for me. I was a senior level manager. I was running 2 departments. One was about 100 people. The other was like 20 people or so. I probably had like a dozen managers reporting to me. But I enjoyed what I did. It was a very people-focused job for me, and it was cool. It was fine. But right around year 16, like I was at that company for 16 years. When I started, that company was like 20 people. And when I left, it was like 2,000 or 3,000 people. So I was there for 16 years. And for 16 years, I had stellar performance reviews. Everyone loved Allison. Every time I had a performance review, nice big raise, high fives, all is good. In my 16th year, for the very first time, and this is how the universe lined up, she's got to go. So let's give her something to go, which is what brought me here, right? That was part of the catalyst that brought me here. So I had my very first review, and it wasn't a bad review. It was just that my performance was so good that everyone wanted to push me up the ranks. I personally had no interest in climbing the corporate ladder. I was like, I'm good. This job is fine. I can handle it. I don't want any more departments under me. But they wanted to push me up the corporate ladder. They wanted me to take on more responsibility. And I was not happy with that. They wanted me to travel the world and train all these managers. And I had started to travel. Y'all know me. I do not love traveling. Like that's like my least favorite thing to do is get on an airplane. I just don't like it. So they were sending me all over the world. And I realized I don't like this, you know? So I was resistant to some of those things. And of course, they were picking up on the fact that I wasn't like as gung ho about my department, my first department. I was less interested in the second department they put under me. And they wanted me to, you know, take on more. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to be in my happy little department and it's fine. And of course, they considered that, you know, unambitious or whatever they called it in my review. I don't know. But that was the very first time that I had something negative in my review. And I was like, you don't like me? Right? But that was a perfect catalyst. Life was orchestrating for me to be here doing this, but it started there, right? So what happened at the time was that shook me up and I realized, oh, this job isn't like an absolute certain thing. Like you can actually get bad reviews right after 16 years of realizing this, right? And that's when I started to go, is this what I really want to do? I started to question that. Am I really wanting to be here? And I had been there for so long that I had hired a life coach and was sort of exploring what do I want to do now? And she took me through a book called Now What? 90 Days to a New Life Direction. That was sort of the course of sessions that I had with her, was going through that book. And it really gave me clarity on what that book calls your golden thread, the gift that you're bringing into the world. And they call it a golden thread because it sort of weaves its way into everything that you do in life. And for me, my golden thread is regardless of what I do, I'm always pulling a group together and I'm always helping, right? When I first had a newborn baby, I was like, I don't know what to do with this thing. So I pulled a group of newborn moms together and we formed a support group. And so no matter where I go in life, I pull a group together and say, hey, let's support each other. That's just my golden thread, right? But the two people that really spoke into my life that made those 2 years not as uncomfortable between the time that I knew for sure that I was going to quit was my life coach at the time, because as soon as I found out my golden thread, I'm like, oh, this is, yes, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life, is in whatever way, pull groups together, help people. In whatever way, pull groups together, help people, right? And the minute I discovered my golden thread, I didn't want to be at work anymore. I was like, I gotta get up, go to this job, right? And thankfully, my life coach, with her wisdom at the time, said, Allison, you can reframe this. And she offered to me, reframe this by saying, this job is fueling my entrepreneurial dreams. And I went, right. Because at that time, my bonuses were $15,000 to $30,000 every quarter. That's on top of my 6-figure salary. And so I woke up the next day a whole new woman. I was like, I'm fueling my entrepreneurial dreams. I am fueling my entrepreneurial. I was the top performing manager. I was like, give me projects. I can do it. I can handle it. Let's take care of this. Let's take care of that. Okay, let's go to this meeting. I was like, my whole attitude toward the job changed because my perspective about the job changed. It's not a job. It's fuel for my entrepreneurial dreams. They give me a bonus and stash it up. I'm like, y'all gonna give me an even bigger bonus next month because listen, my performance is gonna be stellar. I was just so focused, right, that it's fueling my entrepreneurial dreams. I still, however, did not know when I was gonna quit. Even though I had that knowing, I knew I still was gonna quit. When? I don't know. And I was dating my husband at the time. Of course, we're now divorced, but I was dating my husband at the time. And I said, the thing that's getting me is I don't know when. I know I'm supposed to quit this job, but I don't know. I'm not getting at the time, we were both Christians, of course. And I was like, I'm praying, I'm asking God, when am I supposed to walk away? And I'm just not hearing an answer. And his words of wisdom to me was, what if just as strongly as you got the message that you have to go, you just wait until you get a really strong message that now's the time. And I went, oh, right. And I just relaxed and I was like, I'll know when I know. And honey, 2 years later, when I knew that I was going to quit, nobody could stop me. I remember the day exactly I walked into my job. I pulled all of my managers together, and I was there for 16 years, so I gave them 2 months notice. I also made sure the 2 months was after the last bonus that they couldn't stop. So I gave them the 2 months notice, and I let them know that I was going to quit. Now, when I walked in, I was nervous. My heart was pumping, but only because I wasn't sure how they are going to react to me just suddenly. Everyone considered me a lifer at that company. She'll never live. We got her. She'll never quit. With all the money we're throwing at her, she'll never quit. And I knew when I walked in that day, there is nothing anyone can say to me to change my mind. I was so certain that that was the day to quit. I didn't walk away that day, but that was the time that my time was coming to an end. Now I can tell people that I'm ready to quit. And I knew that I'd get counter offers, but they were doing it sort of sideways. Like my managers would come in and go, so what if they upped your bonuses? So what if they increased your salary? Would you stay? And there was nothing anyone could say to me that could stop me. I knew there was nothing anyone can say. I was absolutely certain that was the time. And I quit. I was a single mom at the time. Funny, after I married my husband, he said, I was talking to you through that time, but inside I was like, she is very brave. Like, he was like, I thought you were crazy for walking away from that. And looking back on it, it was interesting because there wasn't anyone in my life going, are you sure? There wasn't anybody in my life that had that influence for whatever reason. But that's when I knew that I would quit, right? So I want to come back to this question about how do you know? Because when you feel complete, it isn't necessarily the time to let go of the side gig or walk away from the job, because there's a very important component that we're not looking at, which is where are you vibrationally, right? So here are some versions of that. Flavors of I feel complete. I feel complete, but I'm not yet in the vibration to allow money to flow without a job. I don't feel like sure-footed and certain about that. So I know this is going to come to an end eventually. I'll just wait it out, and I'll know when I am vibrationally ready to make that shift. Because quite honestly, I'm sure all of you will agree, it is a very rare human that could stop all sources of income and have bills to pay and not go into fear and not go into worry, because of how strongly we were conditioned to earn money in order to survive. So it's very rare that a human being can just walk away from income, have no income coming in, and have bills to pay, and not move into fear and doubt and worry, right? So someone can say, I feel complete just like I did, but I just don't sense like now is the time. And that would be fine. You're feeling like I'm not vibrationally ready yet. The strength of my vibration, the strength of my conviction just isn't there yet, right? So that's one flavor of I feel complete. Here's another flavor of I feel complete. I feel complete, and I do not care if I struggle. I'm not going back and walking away. I don't care. I don't care if I live under a bridge. I feel complete with this, not looking back, never doing it again. I had a flavor of that remember I told the story of when I was having, 20th to 22nd of every month, I have this fear, will I have enough money to pay my mortgage without dipping into my savings, right? Never once, when that was going on, never once did I ever consider going back into corporate America in a senior level management position. I could have gone out and applied. I have enough experience under my belt to go and apply for a senior level management position and do very well at it. I could have gone right back into a 6-figure salary, right? And in corporate America. So, but what was I saying? I was like, the rest of that story was I got sick of being tired, sick and tired of being scared of whether I can pay the mortgage or not. I just got tired of that because I was like, I'm so tired of just being worried about this at the end of the month. And I got to a place where I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. Take the damn house. I don't care. I'm not gonna worry about this anymore. Take the damn house. I don't care. Not gonna worry about this anymore. And to me, that was completely giving up. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Take the house. What I didn't know was that was a beautiful universal orchestration of me finally surrendering. Because when I didn't care that they took the house, I stopped worrying. And when I stopped worrying, the space was open for me to see more of what was possible and to see possibility and to see new ways to shift and change my vibration to alter my reality, right? So the universe can orchestrate even through when we were going, I don't care, I'm giving up, right? But during that time, I never once considered going back. I was happy to have them take the house, foreclose, I don't care. I didn't say I could go back to corporate America and make the money, right? That never crossed my mind. So in that situation, I was more like, I feel complete with corporate America and I'm tired of worrying, but I don't care. I don't care, right? Take the house, I don't care. So that's a flavor, right? I feel complete and I don't care if I struggle, I'm not going back to this job. And you're ready to face whatever comes your way, whether it be living under a bridge, living with your parents, right? You're like, anything but this damn job, or anything but this side gig, right? So that's another flavor of I feel complete. Another flavor of I feel complete is I feel complete with this job because it's way too stressful. What I'll do is find another job that feels less stressful to me, so that I can create more space for myself to become more rooted and grounded in who I truly am. That's another flavor of I feel complete. Another flavor of I can feel complete is I feel complete and I feel fully in alignment with who I am. I have no doubt in my ability to create money from my vibrational frequency. It must happen for me. I know it will happen for me. I am certain that it will happen for me. And I stand firm and unwavering in that belief. That's a whole nother flavor of I feel complete. So my point here is, just because we feel complete isn't the full story. It's, I feel this completeness with this side gig. I feel this completeness with this job. I feel this completeness with this, whatever. But where am I vibrationally? Right? It could be any of those flavors. It's like, I don't care where I am vibrationally. I'm not doing this anymore. I will face the struggle, right? I'll face the debt collectors. I don't care. You could be there. Or it could be, I'll hold on while I shore up my vibrational energy. It could be that. So it could be any of those things. So my question for the person who is asking that, how do you know it's time to quit? You check in with where you are vibrationally and what you feel comfortable with, what feels most aligned for you. Some people don't mind the debt collectors coming. They're like, I do not care. It's just a call. Who cares? They're not going to put me in jail. So go ahead and blow up my phone asking me for the money to pay the bill, which I don't have right now. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know where you're at vibrationally and what feels most aligned for you. So I hope that kind of clarifies. I just wanted to sort of put a full story around the whole I'm complete with this job, I'm complete with this side gig, so that you consider all of the possibilities. And this isn't even all of the possibilities. It's just, you got to check in with yourself. Where am I at vibrationally? And you can't get it wrong. So if you stick with the side gig or you stick with the job because of where you are vibrationally, that's just where you are vibrationally. So just give yourself the space to grow, to move, to shift, to change, and more things will come your way, right? As you grow and expand. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. I get that there's no magic wand to wave all of our troubles away, but I'm wanting to be hopeful that it actually gets better. You may have shared this before, but did you experience less challenges when you shifted your energy and vibration? Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. And I think I did share this last week is when I was in a constant flow of worry about one bill after another or one thing after another, I just had a steady stream, car issues, house issues, something breaking at the house, another thing breaking at the house. Oh no, there's a leak and all these things just kept happening continuously because I was worried. My predominant worry was, am I going to make it? And so there was this constant flow of challenges and contrast that was just ever present, and very, very stressful. So when I moved more into the space of knowing who I am and knowing what was possible and just expansion and awareness of who I truly am and moving more into the space of peace and neutrality, the challenges, although they continue, are, I would say, more spaced out. There's more space between the challenges. And when the challenges arise, there's more of a responding versus reacting. There's more of a shifting to what can I learn from this? So I'm less pulled into the story and more pulled into how can I expand from this? And because I'm more pulled into how can I expand from this, I'm creating more expansion, which creates more peace, which creates more well-being, which creates more ability to handle challenges, which creates more, it's just this constant flow of expansion that happens as a result of challenges coming my way. And there's also this greater ability to not allow the current circumstances to dominate, right? So as the challenges are coming through, there's less of a hyper focus on the challenge and more of a steady state of, I know who I am. Even if I'm pulled into worry, even if I'm pulled into discouragement, even if I'm pulled into frustration, even if I'm pulled into any of those frequencies, there's a more, it's like all of that's happening inside of this predominant awareness that all is well. Even though there's like things shaking up and, there's challenges happening. So my overall answer is yes. Challenges, there was more space between there is currently a lot more space to enjoy life in between the challenges, and definitely more peace, more serenity, and more ability to move through contrast and challenges as they arise. So I hope that makes sense. Which kind of flows into the next question here isn't the reason for the answer to this is built into the question, so I don't have much to add on it. Isn't the reason for contrast and challenges so that we continue to expand? As annoying as it is, aren't challenges here so we can ask for more, explore more, and expand more? And Abraham Hicks often says, she calls it step one moments where you're in the challenge, right? And those challenges cause us to ask for more. Very few of us would grow and expand had we not had prior challenges. I know I'm not alone in that, right? It's like, it is the challenges that caused me to expand. It is like, the worrying about the mortgage that caused me to go, fuck it, take the damn house. And then finally, woo, I have space, right? So, and then that space caused me to expand and grow and see more that I didn't see before, and possibilities started to come, and all of these different things expanded. So yeah, absolutely. We are in a realm that has built-in contrast and built-in challenges so that we can expand and grow and see more and expand our world, So the contrast is here for a reason, which is why it's to our benefit to just embrace contrast as part of life, because we expand and grow as well as a result of contrast. Next question, is there any difference between visualizing and anchoring in your new story? I would say on the one hand, you can say, well, it's just semantics. It's, you're still visualizing if you're anchoring in your new story, and there's no difference. I won't fight you on that. I'm turning 60 this year. I'm kind of losing interest in being right. My interest in being right is quickly fading, and I'm like, yeah, you can go either way. I'm becoming a lot less interested in what is the right answer, and more like, I'm too tired. I've been on this planet too long to argue. Now it's like, I'm done with the arguing. Yeah, sure, you can say it's semantics and it's the same thing. But I did want to share, though, that inspired me to share what shifted for me, because 8 years ago, I was very much into visualizing, vision boards, vision movies, and, creating your own vision movie, things like that. So what shifted for me were 7 things, which I'll highlight here. One was picturing something in my mind was what I was focused on back then. What makes more sense to me now is feeling something viscerally, which is very different than picturing something in your mind. The second is I'm trying to manifest something that isn't here yet to, all realities are here and done right now. That was number 2. Number 3 is my process creates my reality. Anytime somebody says, I manifested blah, blah, blah. What did you do? What are the steps? Totally overlooking what's actually true, which is my vibe and my feeling state is what affects my reality. And what's different for me is I'm doing a process to alter my state. That's the only reason I would ever do a process. Don't do much at all anymore, but if I'm doing a process at all, which I guess you can argue that I'm doing a process because every day I'm really tuning in, you call that a process, right? Tuning into the truth of who I truly am, which I shared a couple videos ago. But I do a process to change me, to change my vibe. I don't do a process to make something happen because it's already done. So that's a shift that I made, is I'm doing a process to make something happen to I'm doing a process to change me, to change my vibe, to get into a new or different vibrational state. And that's the only purpose I see of a process, is to change my vibrational state. Now, my vibrational state is what causes things to happen, which is the question nobody asks, right? When somebody says, I manifested blah, 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 then people say, what's the process? And the whole video is on, okay, so I did this, and then I did this, and I did this. It's all steps in the process, but nobody is saying, what is the vibration that you were in that caused that to happen? So that's the shift that I saw, the shift that I personally experienced. The 5th thing that I personally experienced is thinking about the new reality versus thinking from the new reality. When I'm thinking from the new reality, I'm actually having the experience. The exact experience that I'm looking forward to materializing, I am having that experience. Which brings me to number 6. I have a desire, and more often than not, when we say I have a desire, we're also deeming it not here yet. I have a desire. This idea came up within me. I have a desire. And typically when we say that, it comes with an interpretation of it's not here yet. So instead of I have a desire, I experience a reality. And here's what I mean by that. This is the shift that came for me. Instead of saying I have a desire, if you know that that's already done and it's already here, it's already on the buffet, and really is just going to materialize when I match it, right? So if only we can walk around whenever we talk about something that we want to experience, a desire that we want to experience, if only we can move into the place where you can say to another person, I experience that every day. Like if abundance is your desire, financial abundance is your desire, if you can say to another person, I experience financial abundance every single day. Why? Because you step into your reality every single day. If I go back to number 3, my process creates my reality, and I shifted to my vibe and my feeling state is what takes me into that reality. So my vibe actually puts me in that reality. And for some of you, it may be on a daily basis, it may be every other day. Everybody, chooses their own thing that resonates for them. But typically somebody is putting something on repeat. The frequency almost doesn't matter, it's whatever resonates for you. But let's just say you're putting your new story on repeat on a daily basis. If that's really, if the strength of that practice is there, you can genuinely say, I live my reality every day. I live that reality every day. I experience that reality every day. So if traveling the world is a dream of yours, right? It's the thing that you're looking forward to materializing. When the strength of that new story is active within you, you truly feel like I'm traveling the world every day. Whether you're actively moving into that frequency every day, because for some of you, you put something on repeat for 3-4 days and you feel solid in that, when that frequency, such that it just becomes you. And so for some people, I'm there all the time. Like I'm in Paris almost every day. And if I'm not in Paris, I'm in Italy or wherever is your, spot that you want to go to. But if traveling is your new story, and that new story, and you're truly anchored in that new story, then you're literally there all the time. And so you can say, not I have a desire, but I'm experiencing this all the time. I'm experiencing financial abundance every day. Why? Because you are tuning into your new reality on a regular basis. And so you experience it long before you experience it, which is why for a lot of people, when they're anchored in their new story, when it actually materializes, there's not a, oh, it's more of a, of course, I've already lived this, so now it's my reality, right? So we know that we're anchored in our new story when we can say, I experience this every day. Same for a relationship that's non-harmonious. And what you're looking forward to materializing is harmony in that relationship. You can live in the harmony of that relationship every single day, such that when someone asks you about it, it feels like you've been living in harmony with this person every day. That's what it feels like. And you can literally say, we have a great relationship every day. I feel it every day. Because you're so anchored in it, it becomes you. And you are that experience every single day. That's the shift that I experienced from I have a desire to I live that every day. I have that experience every day. Same for if there's something going on in your body. It's I have a desire for healing to I experience my vibrant, healthy self every single day. It becomes you on a daily basis, even if the practice falls away of, sitting in deep contemplation of your new story, even if that falls away, you're walking in the energy of your healthy self every day. You're walking in the energy of your abundant self every day, your wealthy self every day, your thriving self every day. You're walking in that energy every day. So if somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, how's that thing going? Oh, I experience it all the time. Did you get that job? Oh, I experience that new job all the time. Did you get the money I experience that all the time. It doesn't feel like you're separate from it, So that was one of the other shifts that was really different for me from the old version of law of attraction, visualizing to where I'm at, how I experience it today. The 7th one was, I shared this in our last event, I think. I shifted from I, the human, is allowing experiences to materialize in my reality. This is becoming more and more true for me now, even though I still feel an ebb and flow. It's shifting to I am one with all realities that could ever potentially exist. Therefore, it's already here. I'm already that. And that's becoming, even more predominant in my experience now. So those are a few ways in which the old Allison visualizing to anchoring in my new story has shifted. Those are the shifts that I have personally experienced along the way. So I hope that makes sense. This question came in yesterday, and usually I'm sharing things that I've already had a conversation with the person about. I haven't had the conversation with this person yet. We have a one-on-one session booked for tomorrow, but I wanted to just take a stab at what was shared here. So generally there's this sense of, I know I can't get it wrong, but man, I really want my life to change. I really need to understand that I want to feel like I'm understanding this really well so that I can truly allow things to materialize for me in a really positive way. So the question is, how do I go from where I am now to where I want to be without attachment? And there are a couple of things that came up for me on this, and I shared with the person that we'll do a whole deep dive tomorrow because I have questions about what's really coming up behind what was shared. But one of the things that came up for me just in that statement, how do I go from where I am now to where I want to be without attachment? That says I'm not anchored in my new story yet, which is fine. But if you hear yourself saying that, then you know you're not anchored in your new story because you're more anchored in where I am now, where I'm going to be, where I want to be, right? So there's not a deep, strong conviction that it is already done, because when you're in that strong conviction of it is already done, you're no longer thinking where you want to be. You're feeling like I'm already there. And it's kind of like what I just shared. You're feeling like you're having that experience every single day. The wannabe sort of peters out, and you're actually feeling what you want to be now. So it doesn't feel like a wannabe. It feels like, no, I'm having this experience now, and I'm having this experience on a daily basis. I'm like living this on a daily basis, right? Whatever that experience is. But let's go to how do you get anchored in your new story without feeling attachment? So the experience was, I feel like I need attachment, otherwise I'll go into this detached state from all of life where nothing gets done, and I'm in secret resistance to certain life events playing out, or I'm just letting them play out and I'm stuck in a life situation that I do not prefer. How do I move from where I am now to where I need to be? And the feeling was, no inspiration has actually moved me in that way. And it's interesting that those words are used, right? Like I'll come back to the attachment in a second, but it's interesting that the no inspiration has moved me in that way is coming up, because the inspiration comes out of living in your new story, or often does. I mean, it certainly can come out of other things too. But if we're anchoring in our new story, out of that anchoring, out of I live this new story every day, out of that comes the inspiration to do things. And you can be in this spacious place of I'm loving life, and that can yield the inspiration as well. But if you have a side component of it's not here yet, then there's a split vibration being offered. Yes, I feel peaceful. Yes, I'm out of nature. I'm loving life right now, and it's not here yet. I love life. Life is so good. And it's not here yet. So there's a split vibration going on there where you can go, well, I am over here and I am feeling good and I'm really basking, but there's also the frequency of, and what I want is not here yet. I'm still wanting it. It's not here yet. So that has to come together, and you're feeling like, I'm experiencing my abundance every day. I'm experiencing that every day. I'm living from that every day. It's what I feel every day. And I guarantee you, if you're going, that's what I feel every day, ideas that are in alignment with that unison, right? The unison of your vibrational offering rather than the split vibration, something else will come out of that, and it'll be beautifully apparent, and it'll just flow. But let's go back to the attachment. What came up for me, which we can talk about tomorrow in our one-on-one for the person who sent this through, is I don't know what exactly you mean by attachment. Because attachment, when somebody uses words, this is what I'm discovering is the beauty of having one-on-ones, because somebody would send a question in like this, and in my head, I have my own, interpretation or meaning for attachment. But then I would sit with the person and I would go, well, what do you mean when you say attachment? It would be a completely different thing. Or there are nuances and specific threads from their history or from their filters in life that causes them to use that word. So I'm really loving the one-on-ones for that reason, because more clarity comes out. But when I use the word attachment, it's more, I have to have this or I'm not going to be okay. So let's use an example for money. Some of you would go, well, I for damn sure I'm attached to getting this mortgage paid. Like, I have to have that or I don't have a roof over my head. And one could argue that that's true. Like, I have to have this money in order to pay this bill. So yeah, I'm attached to having this money to pay the damn bill, right? So you can argue that that's true, but there's a more flowing way of being where there's a sense of well-being that's a bigger picture story around the bill, the mortgage, the car repair. There's a bigger sense of well-being that envelops that, where the car repair need comes up and you go, all is well, everything's working out for me. And the attachment to how the bill is going to get paid sort of melts into this feeling of well-being. And you just know it's going to get paid. So there's no need for attachment. There's no need for I have to have, it's like I already have. I feel well-being. I know that I'm taken care of. I know that if I stay in this vibrational frequency, I know that it'll work itself out. So there's a bigger sense of well-being that's around it that sort of naturally disallows the formation of attachment. So that's what comes up for me around that, because I know what my meaning of attachment is, but it may mean something different to you. And the reason I say that is because the other sentence was, it feels like I need attachment. Otherwise I go into this detached state from all of life. And I wondered whether the word attachment could be replaced with interest, because of course we're all interested in the materialization of whatever that we desire. I'm feeling less and less interest in the materialization of things as I go along, only because what's shifting for me is just feeling this oneness with all that is. And so I am feeling less and less of that, but I get where this is coming from. And I'm just wondering if the word attachment can be replaced with the word interest, so that you're not fighting attachment versus detached. And I also, when we get together in our one-on-one, would love to hear more about how you go into this detached from all of life state, where you feel like, I don't feel like doing anything, nothing gets done. There's more in there that I want to go beneath, and we can do that when we get together one-on-one tomorrow. But that's kind of what comes to me as I was reading this. I'm sure there's more to explore here, and I'm looking at it still. So I would say the two overall things is, I'm not yet anchored in my new story, and this split vibration of, yes, I can feel a lot of peace and stillness and all of that, and I don't feel like it's done yet. So that split energy of it's not here yet and I'm at peace is causing a split vibration. And it's interesting that you use the word I'm still stuck, because that's what it feels like when we're offering a split energy. It's like, I feel so free here, but this isn't here yet. I feel so free here, but this isn't here yet. And so because the energy is split, we stay in the exact same place, because there's no cohesion, there's no unison in it. And we just go, oh, it's not here yet, so things are bad. It's really blissful, I'm out in nature. It's not here yet, things are really bad. It's really blissful, I'm out in nature. And so you're just dancing with the two worlds, and they haven't come together. So whenever we offer a split energy, the outcome is typically a feeling of I'm stuck, because there's two completely different energies being offered and they haven't come together in this unison of how I feel on a day-to-day basis. But we can talk more about that tomorrow. The last thing that I wanted to share was sort of an overall sense that I got from a lot of the conversations that we had, and I put it together in a question, which is, I feel very much, well, somebody did have this exact experience too, but I feel very much alone in my spiritual journey. How do others deal with that? And so the conversation we had was around, as the experience of this awakening journey happened, there's this feeling of less and less resonance with the friends that I really did enjoy. And now the friends that I really did enjoy, I can't really have conversations with them about what I'm experiencing because they're coming from a place of fear or, limitation and lack and all this. We can't have those conversations anymore. So now I don't have friends. Now for Allison, it's totally fine. I'm a loner, born that way, right? So I don't feel a void when I don't have someone to talk to about my spiritual journey or about life from a spiritual perspective. I don't feel that void. But the person I was speaking with was feeling that void. And so what I shared was, and we can talk more about this in our Q&A too, which will be interesting to see, but what I shared was, it's no different than anything else, right? So what's really coming up is I have a desire for connection with other people who are more like me. That's a desire, right? So you bring it together in the anchoring of a new story too. Like, what does it feel like to have those connections? Can you go into that feeling state of already having those connections and feel that on a day-to-day basis, such that the loneliness is replaced by the well-being that you feel from anchoring in the story of I'm already connected, I'm already having those connections, and what it feels like. Because the story that was offered was, the feeling of loneliness is coming up every so often, and it started when I began this whole spiritual journey where I realized I can't connect with people as I used to. Well, now what is it that you want? What do you want to see materialized? Well, I want to be able to share what's happening in my life and the person gets it because they're in that frequency too, or they're in that understanding of awakening too, right? So it's no different than anything else. You get real clear on the story and how you want to feel it, because feeling is the secret, as Neville Goddard said, and that was the title of his book, right? Feeling is the secret. And then you feel what it feels like to have that connection on a regular basis because that's your desire. And once you put that on repeat in whatever way is resonant for you, it could be every day, it could be 3 days, and then it becomes you and you stop. It could be, whatever, myriad of things. But you are experiencing that connection on a day-to-day basis. And then life will match you up with that experience because your frequency, the predominant frequency you're offering around that desire is it's already done. I'm already experiencing it. And so much like I shared earlier, you can walk around every single day going, I feel so much connection and love with people who know and get what the journey that I'm on. I feel so much conversation with people who are much like me. And you can feel into that. And if you feel into that on a day-to-day basis, then nothing is missing. And if nothing is missing, you can't feel lonely, right? And what will happen is that experience that you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis, feeling on a day-to-day basis, holding in your vibration on a day-to-day basis, then becomes your reality. And I feel complete. Well, all the questions are done for now. Thank you everyone for joining us for yet another live event, Q&A event. And thank you to the beautiful souls that helped co-create a lot of these events over the last few weeks. And as always, take what resonates, discard what does not. Your inner being has the ultimate guidance for you. Listen to that above all else. I'll see you soon. Bye.